We've been making predictions all week here on the Daily Huddle about who, what, where, when, why. And now it's time to go through what I think the college football playoff looks like, who wins the national championship, and also who wins the Heisman Trophy. Now, I will say, humble brag, in 2023, I correctly predicted the Heisman Trophy winner would be Jaden Daniels, and I did so at the end of August. In 2024, I correctly predicted that Ohio State would win the national championship. I mean, I told you that they would beat Texas to do it, and technically they did, but that's neither here nor there. So I have been right on 2 predictions out of 4, roughly, end-of-year predictions in August the last 2 years. I'm not confident enough to tell you that this 2025 prediction is going to be 2 for 2, or I'm going to get them both right. But by God, we'll give them a shot. Here is what I think the college football playoff bracket looks like when it's all said and done. I believe that I mentioned there are wild cards in here. I believe that the likes of Iowa State and Texas A&M and Liberty, Arizona State making the college football playoff field are more likely than it just being chalk and everybody believes the way that it goes is the way that it goes, whatever the case may be. I think that when you look at the end of the day, the next 4 out of the college football playoff, by the way, are probably some triumvirate of that doesn't make sense, but LSU, Kansas State is probably not too far out. I think Nebraska, for me, Nebraska is Miami from last year, where they don't necessarily have the talent to be in the discussion for the college football playoff, but their schedule is so not good that you can't ignore the fact that Nebraska has a pretty easy road to the college football playoff, and all they have to do is not stub their toe twice, perhaps. And I don't know that I trust Nebraska flat out to not stub their toe twice. And so I think Nebraska should be, based on their schedule, whether that is in Indiana or Miami of last year, deserve to be in the conversation for teams that probably aren't expected to make a run towards a college football playoff, but the schedule is either so bad that it's insurmountable for them to not make the 12-team field, or they have it right there in their hands, and all they have to do is not steer the car directly into a big oak tree. But I don't know that I have a ton of faith that they're not going to steer the car right into the big oak tree. So I think LSU is right on the outskirts looking in, just because I think their schedule is too difficult to get through without a loss or 2. I think that I would love to tell you that I think LSU makes a college football playoff. I just don't think they do. So I think LSU, Kansas State, Nebraska, perhaps Georgia Tech is right there on the cusp too in my predictions. But I had Oklahoma, Oregon, and A&M playing in the first round. Give me Texas A&M to move on to play Texas, which would be a wild quarterfinal. Liberty plays Notre Dame in the first round. Give me the Irish. Irish move on to play Alabama. Give me the Irish. I'll take the Irish back to the college football playoff semifinals, where they'll play Texas, and they'll fall to the Texas Longhorns, who will move on to the national championship game. On the other side of the bracket, Iowa State, Georgia, give me the Dogs. They move on to play Clemson. Georgia versus Clemson would be a fantastic game. Give me Clemson to win that. Arizona State, Penn State in a first-round matchup. Nittany Lions win. They would then move on in this hypothetical to play Ohio State for the 3rd time. And they say it's tough to beat a team 3 times because in my hypothetical, Ohio State would have beaten Penn State twice already. But it's not that hard to beat a team 3 times. Ohio State's got James Franklin's number. Buckeyes moving on to the semifinals. So on one side, Texas and Notre Dame. Told you Texas wins, moving on to the championship game. Ohio State, Clemson. I think the Tigers win that one, move on to the national championship game. A Texas versus Clemson college football playoff national championship game. Two very good programs, two very good quarterbacks that in this situation, let's be honest, make no mistake about it. If it is Texas versus Clemson in the college football playoff national championship game, then those two quarterbacks, Cade Klubnik and Arch Manning, will be 1A and 1B in the who should be the number one overall pick in the NFL draft next year conversation. Now, Archie Manning says Arch ain't going to the NFL draft in 2026. But I'm here to tell you that the Texas Longhorns win the national championship, which is what I am predicting. Give me the Longhorns to hoist the trophy in January. If they win the national championship and Arch Manning is viewed as 1A or 1B, we'll have that conversation when we get there about whether or not he'll leave for the NFL draft. But I'm here to tell you, if it plays out like that, if it plays out to be Texas versus Clemson, it will be because Cade Klubnik and Arch Manning played really good football, good enough to get to the national championship game, and NFL coaches, scouts, GM, assorted front office personnel will be salivating to get their hands on either one of them. If you believe, like I do, that for the most part, college football is built on coaches and quarterbacks, I'm going to take two very good coaches with two very good quarterbacks to make the college football playoff national championship game. Texas versus Clemson. I will take the Longhorns. And I know that it is somewhat hypocritical for the last 3 days to tell you, you can't just expect to, whoever's going to win is going to win. You can't just say that whoever's picked number one in the preseason. I think Texas is a really, really, really good team. I think Texas is going to be a really, really, really good team. I think Steve Sarkisian is a really good coach. Clemson is going to feature, and I know that the argument from SEC fans will be, they don't face the schedule that we do, yada, yada, yada. Clemson will be somewhat tested throughout the regular season, throughout the conference championship, and the early portion of the college football playoff. I think Clemson is talented, and Dabo Swinney might have got his mojo back just a little bit. So give me the Tigers and the Longhorns in the national championship game, and I will predict that Texas wins the title. And I also think that if you go back and look at this and say, with all of the games filled out, what are the biggest surprises? To me, as it sits here in late August, mid-August, I don't know when that actually caps off. If Notre Dame is going to make the college football playoff semifinals, to me, there are one of two options. Their quarterback play got dramatically better throughout the season because there are question marks coming into the start of the year of whether or not they're going to be up to snuff. So either the quarterback play got progressively better throughout the year, or you think about it the way I think about it, and that is that I think Jeremiah Love is going to win the Heisman Trophy. That Notre Dame running back Jeremiah Love is going to shoulder the load for the Fighting Irish. And this is a little bit of, I think that there might be just a little bit of a push to get away from simply giving the Heisman Trophy to the quarterback of the best team in the country. Because if that were to be the case, you are looking at either Arch Manning or Cade Klubnik winning the Heisman Trophy. But I'm here to tell you that if Notre Dame is in the conversation for, one, a first-round bye / being a top 5 team in the country, and being a team that looks like they could make a run to the semifinals, it will probably be because Jeremiah Love has put in some work. And if Jeremiah Love has put in some work to put the Irish on his back and drag their ass to a 10, 11, or 12 win season, he will be in the conversation to win the Heisman Trophy. Because if you remember, Manti Te'o almost won the Heisman Trophy for being a above average linebacker. And even before the whole dead girlfriend was a hoax thing came out, you can go back and look at the tweets. I'll find it on my own Facebook page. Who in the hell actually believes that Manti Te'o is the best player in college football? Who believes that he actually truly deserves the Heisman Trophy? But you get caught up in the good story. Notre Dame has them back for the first time in a while. Now, Notre Dame has been, quote unquote, back for a while, basically since Manti Te'o. But if the Irish are as good as I think they can/will be, they will have been carried by Jaden Greathouse and more likely Jeremiah Love. So I get the impression that Jeremiah Love probably runs for 1,800 yards, 25 touchdowns. He puts up Ashton Jeanty-like numbers. And when you put up Ashton Jeanty-like numbers at a program like Notre Dame, that's going to make you a finalist in New York. And I'll predict that Jeremiah Love wins the whole damn thing. He is going to take home the stiff arm trophy in my 2025 predictions. I want to hear from you. Who do you think wins the national championship? Who do you think wins the Heisman Trophy? I would love to hear your thoughts and comments below. That'll do it for today's episode of the Daily Huddle. I appreciate you making us a part of your day, however it is, wherever it is you're doing so. If you're watching on YouTube, hit the subscribe button. Make sure you're getting all the great college football content we're pumping out. If you're listening on the podcast feed, drop a 5-star review. It goes a long way in helping out the channel. I'll see you tomorrow for another episode of the Daily Huddle.